So it is this lack of transparency that kills this country. And Ayo, I get your points. I don't want people to suffer. I play in that space. I do a lot of advocacy for people. But Ayo, we need to jolt our leaders. Ayo, what happened to this country? We are seeing the likes of the Machimogu. We have seen the likes of Malami, forfeiture and everything. We need to jolt our country back. Ayo, I cry for Nigeria this morning. Let me read something to you. Why I'm crying, why I scream sometimes for this country. On the 23rd of December 1974, Nigeria signed a long-term borrowing agreement with the World Bank. Under this agreement, Nigeria provided $240 million in net resources to the World Bank reserves. And we're borrowing World Bank money.
We were lending.
We're lending World Bank money to do development projects for other countries. 120 million to the IMF. This country was not depending on aid in the 70s. I feel like crying this morning. What has happened to this country?
Yeah, greetings to you all. Yeah, some of us are just knowing that Nigeria has been a country so buoyant to lend money to the World Bank and to the IMF. You know, it's just a pity that whenever I want to talk about anything good that has happened to Nigeria or from Nigeria before, we usually travel back to history. That's a pity. You know, in 1971, 72, 73, you know, all of those times mentioned, they are the time when General Yakubu Gowon was the head of state in Nigeria. And we even heard that, you know, he reached out to people that, yes, let's deliberate on how to spend this money that has been accumulated, you know, into the government coffer. Well, kudos to General Yakubu Gowon, and kudos to all those who worked with him. Yeah. Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory was his Minister for Finance, Commissioner for Finance, equivalent of minister there. I would have done the same if I were to be the president, you know, because this Awolowo had been the premier of the Western region. And when he was the premier, his region used to lend money to Nigeria. You get it now? That's wisdom. So when General Yakubu Gowon became head of state, he quickly took Awolowo. You know, that looks like saying whatever you did that made the Western region prosperous, so prosperous that the entire country were getting benefits, that the entire country was getting benefits from the region that you led. Come and do that same thing under me here as my Commissioner for Finance, equivalent of Minister for Finance now, or you want to call it Coordinating Minister of Economy, you know, stuff like that. But honestly, it has not ceased to amaze me how we usually resort to history whenever we want to mention what we got right politically. And I really don't see governance as a rocket science. I don't know. Effective governance, I don't see it as a rocket science. And I commend once again the wisdom of Yakubu Gowon, because I could just interpret what he did as saying, well, we have seen your results, Chief Obafemi Awolowo. At least what you've done before, come and do it again. Whether there will be improvements on what you are doing or not, what you have already done, do it again. It means if somebody had said Nigeria would not improve in its productive capacity in the 50s, 60s, 70s, it is not a blessing, but if you consider how the country have retrogressed, we will not consider that statement a curse either. Because this country has once been a prosperous country. So doing things the right way in the political spheres requires getting right hands in place. And to get the right hands in place requires observing who has done something commendable in some times past. All this should not be seen as a rocket science. Wherever there is will, there is always a way. What we see these days. But what do we see these days? Fake agencies. Embezzlement in hundreds of trillions of naira. And at some point in time, it is appearing as safe to say that is what we are celebrating today in the country. And little wonder it is when we find ourselves borrowing and borrowing and borrowing instead of lending that our forefathers are known for. If you ask me, I would not say that the capacity to be productive has been affected. But as the proceeds comes in, they are being gathered somewhere and siphoned out. It's a simple common sense. The amount that they told us that the government of Nigeria lent to the World Bank, IMF in those days, if you convert those amounts, the result you will get will be equivalent to the trillions of naira, hundreds of trillions of naira being siphoned today by a certain organization within the country. It's a simple arithmetic. And it's just a function of simple logical reasoning. It's a function of simple logical reasoning. We should wage war against corruption, against stealing, against embezzlement. We can do what our forefathers did, and we can even do better. But stealing has overtaken almost everything. Embezzlement has overtaken almost everything. With stealing, with embezzlements, with leakages, with fake agencies, and stuff like this, the result will be one thing, always. Always.